Hi guys, my name is Elizabeth, and for my concept map, I decided to relate leadership to a puzzle. I chose to do this because leadership is something that can be taken piece by piece, and there's so many different approaches to it, but they all require individual parts to make them up. So just like a puzzle. So when learning about dispositional leadership, what really stood out to me for when you were learning about this is how focused it was on the personal attributes of the leader, so just what they naturally were good at and able to do. So when looking at the two different types of leadership that this falls into, the trait approach was really focused on the certain traits that the leader has and just that they were like naturally had and about their personality and things that they were good at. And then when looking at the skills approach in leadership, it focused on what actual actions people were good at. So when you naturally lean more towards being better at working with people or technical skills, or than the conceptual ones as well. And then these different approaches lead to the same general shape of a puzzle piece. So in this like metaphor, they have the same ideas of that, you're focusing on the personal attributes of someone, even though these two pieces might look a little bit different, they have the same dispositional theory piece, if that makes sense. In terms of the relational based part of the puzzle, the LMX theory was really focused on the interactions between the leader and the follower. So it makes the puzzle piece by creating the individual relationships with people. It makes each piece unique because of the groups that are created. So this theory involves like the in groups and the out groups of organization. It makes it a positive environment. So like all those aspects together make up that individual or make up like the pieces of the puzzle of that theory. The next piece in the leadership puzzle is focusing on like the situation and how it's a leader's job to make sure that the followers can be the most successful that they can given their situation. So the most important thing to consider here is that the leader is adapting their leadership style based on what the followers need, and then removing any obstacles that they can to get to the goal that they're trying to achieve. So this is relative to these two theories because it's focusing on motivating the followers and removing the obstacles that are in their way. Then looking at the behavioral leadership piece, this one has a lot of different leadership theories that can fit into the piece of the puzzle, but all of these styles mostly focus on what leaders are able to do, what leaders can do to better lead their followers. So when considering like each different approach, the transformational uses emotional involvement to emphasize the values and growth. And authentic leadership is rooted in behavior of trustworthiness and transparency. Servant leadership is based on the behaviors that are fully serving the followers, so doing whatever you can to make sure they succeed. And then the adaptive leadership style is used by the leader changing their behaviors based on what the goal is. So whatever the followers need, they change they change the way that they're approaching it to fit that. And I think that fits all very well into that category because they're focusing on the different behaviors that they can do, the actual actions that they can take to influence others. So that's why it's the behavioral leadership piece of the puzzle. Next up, we have our future directions in leadership. So this is taking into account how the world is changing and evolving and how the leadership theories need to follow that as well, because with so many different cultures, ideas, and attitudes that are changing about leadership and organizations, they need to be able to keep up with the times. So these are important pieces of the puzzle to look at as well, because some of these have even just been more so relevant in the past few years that are coming up. People are focusing now more on team teamwork and how that relates to leadership and everything. So by including these pieces of the puzzle, you can get a more holistic view of where leadership is going. Next, looking at the puzzle piece of it one more time, just like putting together a puzzle, all of these little pieces come together in order to make everything work. By putting all these different aspects together, whether it's in an individual theory where you're, including certain things about the way you act or interact with people, or the overall arching theory of like the puzzle, putting all of the individual theories together, it makes a comprehensive unit of all of our leadership theories. And then overall, I think what this has taught me is that each approach to leadership is very unique and something that needs to be considered and individually and in the context of each organization, because depending on what the pieces of the puzzle that they might need or they might have are, you can pick whatever leadership theory fits and works together with that puzzle to create the most successful organization that you can. So that is all of my project, and I hope you enjoyed the leadership puzzle.